What are we doing here, man?
Since we did a podcast with you and a friend of yours in the past, it gave me a big opportunity to express my struggles. And it made me feel the love that I didn't realize that I had. I want this to be an opportunity to give people to share a different side of themselves. And if they want to share their struggles or just show a different front that they don't show the public, that they should just say that. That's great.
You think people want that?
I think it
was helpful for you?
It was very helpful for me. Because like when we did it, I just kind of did it to cleanse my soul, and then the amount of responses that I got back from people, that was honestly probably one of the biggest aha moments of my therapy. And it was very, I should say, it made me feel accepted, because a lot of the times where I was trying to be perfect and I didn't believe all the kind things that people would say about me, and I was in my own world. That was probably the moment when, like I said, when I was receiving comments from people that I haven't seen in 15 years.
Cheering you on.
Yeah.
Reaching out. Sharing how meaningful you telling your story, and right, like your progress was. Yeah. And the hope is that we can provide a platform for others to do that.
Yeah, where they could share their struggles. It could be something as simple as their struggles at home, where they have to be, say, maybe being a single parent, or growing up. Like I know you grew up in a divorce home. I'm sure you'll talk about that when you get to your time. And just think on like how that affected you in life. It could be anything simple. It could be the simplest struggle to where obviously mine became a self-medicating struggle of trying to believe, or trying to figure out how I could be good enough and become accepted, and I never felt good enough that I could get to that point. So I'd just be so stressed, and the alcohol gave me confidence to get through the day. And yeah, some days there were good days, and okay, I didn't feel that bad, I didn't have to drink, but it's just whoever's struggling. It could be anything. It might be a struggle to me, it might not be a struggle to me.
Yeah.
But it's that person's perspective on how they feel about things.
Yeah. I think it's good to talk about challenges. I think it's good to have conversation about that and talk about why. I think oftentimes we don't talk about that for a while, or if you're going through something, to have a platform to share that. So I'm down, dude. I got a lot of energy from our conversation when we recorded too, of your journey and the stuff that you shared. So let's see what happens, man. I'm down for this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna. Anybody can. All they gotta do is reach out to me or Ethan, and we'll go from there, and hopefully we can set up a time. And
we're hanging out in your garage. This is the studio.
I don't know if this is the official studio.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all know people all around the state. I'm sure we can make some
hit the road
to their homes. And it's like how the past year plus I was in Barocco. I plan on going back there in the fall or in the winter while I'm not at my current job. But we'll go into my story a little bit more about that. But so I think there would be opportunities that would be obviously willing to go on the road instead of.
Let's get an RV. Let's get a Winnebago or something to hit the open road.
Instead of being stuck in this garage because it might be a little cold in the winter.
Yeah. Cool. What else, man? Are we going to give an update on where you're at and your stuff, or what's the plan?
Yep. From the last time I did this, it was beginning of September of 23. Like I said, I was just getting out of jail, and I had been working at the jail for a few months. And said I still wasn't sure about myself. I was going through therapy. I was getting better, and then we did this recording, and that 2 hours, I felt good about it. Just getting everything off my chest. It felt great. So that was probably the last part of me tearing down my walls. And then the amount of responses, like I kind of joked to you, and then to me it was a joke, saying like, "Oh, this is gonna be your best episode ever." And turned out it was by a landslide. I would have never imagined that there would have been over 500 people that would have watched it, because in my mind, I didn't think I was that important. That anybody would want to listen to me. But as time went on, the responses that I've gotten, and the people that I've got to see now, because I moved back to Nina in April, and I've gone back to my I'm back at my current job in road construction as a foreman for Mashuda Contractors, and the guys that I work with, I couldn't believe. I was so surprised how much they were actually pulling for me too.
Yeah.
And how much I meant to several of them. So there's that. But going back to September, I had got a job at the Walgreens pharmacy, and I did that for the past 6 months before I moved in April. And honestly, that would have been something I would have never, ever been able to accomplish for the state of mind that I was in. And yes, there was a couple of moments in there with some unruly customers that kind of brought some mental triggers back, but it didn't. I didn't get the urge to drink. I didn't get anything. The women that I worked with were very supportive of my journey and everything that I've been a part of, and I'm glad to say that they're probably some of my best friends now that I would talk to. I still talk to them randomly in our group chat.
Yeah.
But that was honestly some of the funnest times I've ever had. And then did that. I continued with counseling. Did a group teaching on how to turn failures into success. That's more your state of mind and your perspective. It's trying to stay positive, and honestly, that's why I probably could say one of my biggest changes, that things that they focused on, was turning that negative into a positive, switching your, because society today is just so negative with everything. Oh, you screwed up, you failed, you did this, you're not good enough. Instead of looking at you failed or you screwed up, look at it as like, okay, I learned it not to do it that way now.
Yeah. Yeah. Negativity and mindset is huge. Even just how you talk to yourself, right? Like negative self-talk. I mean, I think oftentimes you're your own worst critic, and then you beat yourself up on some things when things don't go right, when you fail, when you make mistakes. So you can either do that and live in that negative mindset, and then you start believing those things that you tell yourself, or you flip it and you say, "Here are the things that I learned, and you'll do better next time, and you can learn from your mistakes." So I think so much of that is just inside of you, how you process it and what your mind is. I still fall into the loops of negativity. And I think it's just like recognizing it, taking a breath, and then flipping it and making it more positive. It's good to have good people around you too, though, that can bring you out from that. Because if you're just living with it, I think it's another reason to share stuff. Share your mistakes, share your failures, share your challenges, and then have somebody pick it up and describe what you learned from it, flip it from a mistake or to a learning opportunity, which I think is what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I'd say going into my days at the pharmacy when I first started, I was, like I said, I had never done anything like that before. I just thought it would be something that would keep me mentally challenged and keep going, and by far, it did keep me mentally challenged.
Yeah.
And the amount of stuff that those women know and need to know about insurances and this and that, and
Yeah.
pharmacy and mixing in different possible medications and this and stuff. And I was just kind of like, holy crap.
I had no appreciation for what other jobs entail.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the customer service and listening to, except there are some unruly customers that are impatient with how fast they get their prescription or why when this wasn't done. And sometimes you're just getting blasted because they're frustrated and it's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm. Unruly customers. I'm at the middle school in Nina, so I know what that's like. Talk about some unruly customers there.
Yeah.
I'm doing some classroom assistance and subbing at the middle school, hanging out with sixth graders, helping them through their days. And similarly, right, like a new appreciation for staff, for administration, for the kids, for what their day to day is. Yeah, and then I was just reffing basketball in an AAU tournament, so I'm familiar with getting blasted from parents. Mostly good, but it's the one or two that just yeah, you're gonna make mistakes as an official. I'm gonna miss calls, and yeah. So yeah, just dealing with that, dealing with people, right?
Yeah. Because like before, like how I was very uncomfortable just being around people at times, and it just drove me nuts to being. Now I can sit in the drive-through and talk to whoever's in there, or if I was at the register, just with them asking questions, doing this and that. I would have never, ever in a million years thought I would have been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I was done with it, I loved going there every day, and I look forward to. I talked about them or with them. If I could come back in the winter when I go back to Baroque and try to help out with the treatment court, and they were more than willing to because that is their busy time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the slow time or the off season for my road construction job. So it kind of worked out hand in hand.
What changed, do you think, for you around wanting to be around people or being more relaxed around people, getting energy from being around people?
I would say it was probably like I said, when I was getting the responses from our first podcast. I was just getting all that positive energy from everybody, and just that's how times are going, and they're looking forward to me, and they're saying that I'm a role model now, and I'm still sitting there like, holy crap! I'm like,
you viewed yourself as differently, or more positive. Is that fair?
Definitely more positively, because at that point I'm like, okay, I'm starting to turn the page, and all of a sudden that seemed like the whole book flipped on those couple of weeks, and just when I was reading some of the responses on Facebook, some of the stuff that people that were messaging me, I was in tears a lot of those nights. And
that's healing though, right?
That's been a lot of healing and accepting, and I can't say that I'm fully truly accepted that I'm this great person that everybody still tells that I am, but I know I'm a hell of a lot. I believe a hell of a lot more than I did before. And hopefully this will bring out the best of me.
Yeah, man. I think I'm glad something good came from that podcast, by the way. I'm glad to hear that. Because it's easy to remember the stuff that didn't go well with it, for me personally. So it was worth it then, which is good to hear. I think that's the struggle is do you think you're a good person? Right? Like, do you believe that you're authentic and a good person? Because I think it's like, I think that's the challenge that life is. I feel that too.
Yeah, living the authentic, transparent life, that you're not hiding behind something. You're not. This is who I am. And it took me 41 years to get here, but
and you'll continue to grow and evolve and live and change, right? Like I think that's what you continue to do. So and make mistakes and fail and right, like otherwise, then you just if you don't, then you stay stagnant. Then uh, you settle or stop growing. Uh, so good. Um, what's next? What else are we going to talk about today? Or is that it?
no, I was just going to say part on with the accepting. Going back to your last question was the redeveloping of a lot of relationships.
Yeah, that's huge.
And like an important one to me was when you reconnect me with Tony Packer.
Yep.
So that was my childhood friend, and we had done everything together. And
Anthony?
Yes, Anthony.
Yep. I remember that kid.
We had done everything together basically until we were 16, and probably when we needed each other most is when we kind of drifted and we went down our own paths. Mine going towards alcohol and his towards other things. But then, yeah, obviously, after I don't know how many years of not talking to each other, and now you reconnected us. Now we exchanged a few texts here and there. There might be a little gap, but there's still conversation going. And along with I'm having better relationships with my nieces and my nephews and so many other people, and better with my parents and better with my sister-in-law and brother now. It's just for how sheltered I made myself. I didn't realize how bad it was.
In terms of just who you communicated with and who you didn't communicate with. Yeah.
Because I literally made it seem like the people that I worked with, and then I didn't want to talk to anybody until the next morning when I went to work. And then
why?
Why? Like that went back to the I didn't think I was that good of a person.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I kind of discovered through my counseling was at that point, I think the only thing that I was proud of at the time was my job. I wasn't proud of my life. I wasn't proud of how I was living. I wasn't proud of what I was doing outside of work. It was just my job defined me. And that's not the way to live.
Yeah, right. Agreed. I think it happens for a lot of people, or at least they use it as an outlet when things around them aren't perfect or great, or relationships are hard. Then you invest in work or career, and but you can do both, right? You can find balance. Finding that balance.
Yeah, and I'm now that I'm back at my old job, I'm still struggling to find a little balance. It just seems like, okay, now we're starting our day at 5:00 and getting home at 6:30 or so, and then you got to try and maintain your relationship at home and keep everybody else happy and stuff going that, and trying to, because there was a day or two. I think there's a day last week, and I just said to Angie, I just said to her, I am burnt out. Between moving and getting ready to move and doing all that stuff and doing this, and I said, now going back to work, and working freaking or pretty much my whole day shot until about 6:30. I said, and then we got this going on or this going on and that going on. I said, I'm like, I haven't stopped. I'm getting burnt out. And yeah, she's slow. Then the other night, it was one of her friend's birthdays, and it was just peace and quiet in the house. Took Turks, our dog, for a nice long walk, and she had made supper. All I had to do was throw it in. It was just a nice quiet evening. And honestly, I felt rejuvenated the next day just because of that.
It's important, man. And you talked about Sundays being for self-care.
Yeah, I always try to leave Sundays open now, whether some of them have been busy the past few weeks because we've been trying to clean the garage or getting the house organized or doing landscaping outside now that it's springtime. I just all of a sudden you start a project, and I've always been one I don't like to stop it until it's done. But it's just some of those days get long. But best thing I could say is I haven't gotten mad or frustrated or anything about doing any of them. Like in the past, I probably would have just said, "I ain't doing that. I don't want to do that."
It's a big transition that you went through. So just recognizing that, taking a step back from that, moving in. Yeah. So making sure you have space for yourself. And then just like being aware and being okay and saying it out loud that you're burnt out and you need a break. Right? Like I think some people don't. And then they just go, and then they fall into that. It becomes unhealthy, or they look for ways to cope that aren't healthy. So,
So then we can, I would say, the last handful of months of counseling that we had, like I said, there was the teachings, and it seemed like the last couple more months was more we needed to. It seemed like it got a little stagnant, or you want to say, because we got to a point where, okay, we got over the big humps, and it seemed like I got through a lot of things. But it was always nice sitting with him, with Patrick, my counselor, just to go down and sit in this couch and just talk about whatever would happen that week. You could do the simplest thing is like, okay, I had a good conversation with my mom, or something screwy happened, or just the littlest thing. And that's what I kind of believe. Yes, we all know that counseling has such a negative outlook by a lot of people. Well, you're going to counseling, there's something screwed up with you.
yeah.
But honestly, I could say that 14 months that I spoke with him sometimes twice a week, and that solved so many of my problems. So many of my problems. And then and he was such a good counselor, and you could tell he genuinely cared.
Right.
And I still talk to him probably once a week, sometimes if there's a little busyness. But yeah, we can still touch base, and I know he's still worried about me, and everybody's worried about me, because he says that the treatment court still asks what I'm doing if they've heard from me.
Yeah. Worried or just want an update, want to check in and want to hear about what you're doing. Yeah. Worried in a positive way, maybe.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a worried positive, because when I was leaving, all of them, probation officer and the coordinator and Patrick and the judge, they all said they really were worried about me. They figured if anybody was going to do this, it would be me. And you were at my graduation that day.
Yep.
That was a pretty cool day. It was the judge, who used to be the district attorney, at the end of our little conversation that we had in the courtroom, he asked me if I could feel the amount of love that I was getting in that courtroom. And I couldn't. I was fighting back tears, a lot of that time. And then at the end of it, when he stood up and gave me a big hug, it's hard. That'll always be a moment I remember.
Yeah.
Because not many people will ever be able to say that, if any. So I think that's a pretty cool and special moment. And then having you there, and Angie, and my friend Greg, who's been kind of a mentor, father figure over the past 12 years or more. That was a great day, and the amount of support that people gave me, and that obviously you posted on that thing on Facebook, and people have been so proud of me. It's just it's quite it still seems a little overwhelming.
Yep. And it will for a while, probably. Yeah. It was overwhelming. It was emotional. I was in tears that day. I remember that. That's a day and an event that I'll remember for the rest of my life, for sure. That's huge.
Then after that was moving and then coming back to work at Mashuda. And like I said a little bit in the beginning, but it's just everybody has welcomed me back with open arms and a great big smile. And like I said, there was the amount of people that told me that they were pulling for me. Like as I said, I never had a clue. Like there's even a couple of them that I wouldn't even expect them to say anything to me about it, and they have.
Yep.
And then Matt Mashuda and his brother-in-law John and his wife and their sister Kelly, they all welcomed me back. And the first day that Matt came onto the job, when he saw me there, he pulled right up and didn't ask me how anything was going with the job, didn't whatever. He just wanted to talk to me. He wanted to see how I've changed.
Yeah.
And I think that was a pretty cool moment. And now it's as I was as a mentoring Cole, the younger foreman on the job, and giving him some wisdom. He asked me a question and some other things, and he asked me. He said, "How do you remain so calm?"
Mm.
And I said, like, I've lived my hell. I said, I'm like, I loved it out here. I said, when I was living in my hell, I said, now I can say that I can guarantee you nobody's probably having more fun than me out.
Mm.
And yeah, it can be a stressful environment when things go awry. But I'd rather be in the middle of it than off on the sidelines.
Hmm. And how do you remain calm? I mean, you just enjoy it.
I really enjoy it that much. I liked it before because I always thought turning a field or whatever we might be doing into a state highway, whether it be a 4-lane highway or just there was a couple of times that we worked at some solar projects where we turned a farm field into a giant solar field with solar panels where we did grading and little stuff. And plus, it's another thing that it constantly keeps me thinking.
Yeah, you can be present, right?
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity to use your brain in a different way. Yeah.
The way that I figured it, and a lot of people have said to me, is that they want me to stay busy. They fear if I'm not busy, I may go back to my old ways, which I don't believe that I will. I just know where I'm at in my own head now, and it took forever. And I can even say that goes to one of the questions when I was getting. You have to fill an application for graduation, and one of the last questions was, if you feel like you're going to relapse, are you going to reach out to somebody? And my answer was a little bit of arrogance, but it's truly how I feel. Is I lived my personal hell. I'm not going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I feel confident in who I am now. It took me, like I said, because as I got older, I should say it got worse. But like when we were in our early 20s and as we were growing, that was more. Alcohol was giving me the confidence. And then as I got older and things got more stressful, or relationships went sour, this and that, and the continuing to not be good enough for people, or that's then it became more of a de-stressor. And then like I said, it had gotten such a grip on me, and at that point, those last couple of years, it was pretty much a rarity if I didn't drink, because it was, I got a couple in the fridge. I might as well get a couple more. There was never, I'm going to go out for one. It was either all or nothing. And yeah, it was a dark, ugly time, and it didn't matter. I was everything had fallen apart. And like I said, I just wanted to go to work and get home from work and start drinking and go to sleep. Wake up and do it again. Really didn't care what else was going on in the world. It's where I am today, where now we want to do this podcast. We want to help other people with their struggles. I know I may not have the most wisdom or anything, but I think I have a good amount of it. I've lived a hell of a life in 40 some years.
Yeah. I think what I learned from the past project, which is similar to this, is people are at different stages of willingness to share, right? Like, or just what they want to talk about or be open about and share it publicly, which is good, which is fine, right? Like everybody's at a different spot. Your point is that it's healing, that if we encourage it, that you get positive from it. And it's helped you, and you believe that there's opportunity through this platform, through conversation, to help others. Is that fair?
Yeah, and especially those that could be somebody who's watching. We might not be able to give anybody any good advice what they might be struggling with, but if somebody's watching,
they could also get benefit from it, from hearing others,
hearing others, or they have already gone through it themselves,
or are going through it.
Yeah.
Or, want to get to a place that they're ready to share it with someone, or get help from others. Cool. I'm not a therapist or a counselor by trade. I know how to ask questions and hold space, and that's all I got, really.
Yeah. And I'm definitely not a therapist or anything, but like I said, I've learned to be empathetic and show sympathy now, and to have that willing ear compared to before when I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. People know if you are listening to them. People know if you actually ask a question and listen to the response and care about the response. And I think that's why conversation works. That's why this will work, I think. It might not work, but that's why I like.
It helps people get connected.
And here, and right, and it's a reason for us to hang out.
Yeah,
it's a reason for you and I to hang out. So screw everybody else
and go on some adventures.
Yeah.
And then when we can jump on to some other things that we're going to talk about. I know, as I said to you, I brought you the idea we want to ask everybody 3 or 4 of the similar questions.
I like that.
And I know one of them would be, what's your biggest fear? And I know what
I'm not telling you mine, man.
I know you got to wait yours till next time.
My biggest fear.
But I can tell you mine's failure. It's always been failure because I've always tried to be so perfect, get everybody's approval. Or if that's what I figured I was getting, that's how I could get love, was being perfect. So if I failed, I was not going to be good enough. And I still struggle with today, and I probably always will, because that's just how my mentality was. But I'm a lot more forgiving to myself now, because I know I can't be perfect. And it's impossible trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, it's that change of your perspective on things. I didn't fail. I learned how to not do it correctly. I got to this point. It went awry. What direction we got to go to find the correct way?
That's a big question, man. People are going to come on and tell us their deepest fears.
I hope so.
But I like it. What are you scared of? What are you? What's something that makes you feel fearful? And then just have conversation around that. I like what's the most challenging thing you've been through? I think that's similar. What's the most difficult or challenging thing, or tell us one thing that's been challenging. That gets them kind of thinking about things that they've been through and experiences that they have.
Yeah, because I can easily say what my most challenging thing was, and that was going through the treatment court program and turning my life completely around. And like how you said, that was one of the most challenging thing, and I can also turn into what's also your greatest accomplishment.
Yeah, right.
And I would also say that's the same thing as my biggest challenge turned into my biggest accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. I think oftentimes that's the case too, right? Like that's the point. What's the hardest thing that you've done, and why was it hard? And you did it, and then you feel like a sense of accomplishment. That's that you completed it.
And another one. This is a very vague question because this could go any.
I like big.
It could be. This will truly show somebody's perspective on things. It's how do you define success?
Mm. I love that
because some people define success on possessions, material, how much stuff they have, how much money they have. To somebody might just feel that they had a successful day, that they got out of bed because that's all they're struggling, and they just got to out of bed. They made themselves a meal. They got through the day. That might be successful to somebody.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about success, and I think definition of success, and I think that changes as you change as a person too, and as you mature and as you gain experiences, and as you think you define success, and then you get there and you look around and you're like, that's not what I wanted, or this doesn't feel great. Like I've achieved this. If it's something like you mentioned, career or promotion or salary or money or something like that, possessions.
It's like when I was younger, you would think, oh, success is all about money. How much money can I make?
Get a great job and stack up some money. Yeah.
But after I've gone through my struggles and all this, I think I'm very lucky to where I am today. I feel super successful now that I get to be back with my work family, both of them, the ones at Mashuda, the ones at Walgreens. I said I got to reconnect with the friends that I thought I may have lost, or at least we had a large gap in. I said I get to live with the woman I love and her two cats and our dog Turks. Getting to come home to that and having that dog tackle me every day before I get to say I'm home or anything. To me, that's a very successful day. So I get to come home and we get to go for a walk and get to have a nice meal and just have a little bit, and then we get to go to sleep.
Yeah,
it's not. We're both make enough money where we don't have to worry about anything where we're struggling financially, which I know that's a burden that a lot of people have. But I think I've lived a very successful life, for how dark it was for me for a while. But I can say I definitely swam through my own river of shit and came out clean on the other side. So I think I'm very successful with where I am today. And then I know another question that I wanted to say was somebody who's had a very positive, impactful on or impact on your life, other than say a parent or spouse or a sibling
or anybody. Yeah, if they want to say it. Yeah, pretty cool. Talk about impact. Talk about like a mentor or someone that's important to you.
Yeah. Because like I would say, there's a couple of them. There's Greg Webster's the guy that I worked with. Like I said, he was always that father figure. Because when I started at Mashuda, he kind of took me under his wing, and we camped next to each other, and we've talked, and our relationships have always matched. And like if I have something to vent to about work, he's always been that guy because he understands. And now that he's retired, but it's still, I get to tell him, and he always tells me, he's like, God, I don't miss it when you tell me these stories. But it's nice to have that person there that can give you some fatherly advice and also understand what you're going through on the job. And then the person who's probably impacted my life the most, I would say, is probably Patrick Kelly, my counselor. Because as he will say, he didn't do a thing. I did it all myself, but I couldn't have done it without his guidance and him poking and prodding me along the way. Because there was a couple of times where I was in a rut, or it just seemed like it was the dog days of that treatment court, and like halfway through, I'm like, oh, seems like it's taken forever, and he would push me along. And there's several times where he said to me, well, if this is just too difficult and you don't want to do it, why don't we just take you right to the frickin' bar and you can go back to the life that you were at?
Yeah.
And when he said that, I'm like, that's not the life that I want. So,
pretty incredible guy. I met him a few times. It was cool to see you guys connect. And he's full of wisdom, and he's such an effective counselor and therapist. And yeah, his style is to say, you did all the hard work. It's you. You'll continue to do the hard work. So thanks for introducing me to Patrick.
Yeah, he was very caring, and he shared his own struggles throughout his life.
He was vulnerable.
Yeah.
Even with me the first time I met him. Yeah. I think that's some of it. He didn't come off as someone that never made a mistake, or that, right? Like he helps people share their stuff by sharing his stuff.
Because like when we did counseling, I know there was one night I think I had an individual session at 4, and he said to me, what do you think we should do for group tonight? And I said to him, I said, why don't you, because we all have to share our path and tell us our journey, how we got to that room on the whiteboard. And I asked him, I said, why don't you share your story with all of us? Because I kind of had known it, because he had kind of given me bits and pieces. And then all of a sudden, he just went up there. He said, that's a great idea. And he did it to all the guys, and all the guys were like in awe. And he's also a reverend father, and that man has probably impacted a lot of people's lives.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And I can't believe how lucky I was to meet him.
Yeah. He came into your life at the right time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any other questions that you got that popped into your head. I think those were kind of a good
Oh, for you or for the show? Yeah, no, that's a good start. And then it's just like why, and tell a story about it, and then you just follow up with open-ended questions there, and let the person who's responding to it lead. Yeah. You found Jesus. You found God. He helped you with that. Where are you at with that?
I've always believed. I was raised Catholic. I went through doing the CCD till I was confirmed my senior year. I did that. Then because we did that, and then obviously you get through high school, you're in your teenage years, I don't need to go to church. I don't need to do this. And I think part of the struggle was also that the father that I had at church for my whole life had retired, and then all of a sudden there were some other people that were just coming in and out. And it just kind of, and I was kind of in and out myself, and I kind of got to the point where I'm like, well, I don't need to go to a building to worship. And I still kind of feel that way, because I believe he's always around. Because I believe Jesus and the devil are always present, or whatever, because one's tugging on one shoulder and another one might be tugging you on another shoulder on what path you go. If you go down the dark path, that wasn't Jesus pushing you that way. And so I do believe that there's angels and there's demons. Everybody has them. Because I know there's several things that there are times in my life where something steered me the right way, or something grabbed the steering wheel that made me avoid a tree when I went into the ditch, or or just certain things that like I've always walked away unscathed.
Mm.
And a normal person, I don't know how they could have. I know I'm not that lucky. There has to be some kind of,
Somebody was looking out for you based on your life experience.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now that obviously I'm sober and Patrick gave me a prayer bracelet, that's a thing that I use if I do get upset or just to help clear my mind. And I just say the Jesus prayer, which is, O Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And you just do that with your inhale and exhale to focus on your breathing to get you to calm down. That's done wonders for me.
Yeah.
And now, and my mother, she's a very religious lady. So more recently, I've been showing up on Sunday mornings at Mass, surprising her and sitting down next to her. So I'm trying to doing that more and more and get myself reconnected a little bit with going to church. So that's another healthy.
Yep. Shout out to Rosie Trebe. You think she'll see this?
Oh, I know she will.
Yeah,
she will.
Talk about your relationship with her, because you talked about growth there, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there was those last couple of years, she was scared to talk to me. Sometimes I think she still might be scared to talk to me. Just because I've always been very, I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody's help. Mm-hmm. And so, so yeah, at times I may have given her, I don't need your help.
Yeah.
But when I needed it most, like everybody, she had told me, I don't know how many times, Kyle, you need to get help, you need to get help, you need to get help. And I'm fine. Which, we'll go back to Patrick just on the word fine quick, because he told me the word fine stands for fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. That's what fine stands for. Because that was my answer to everybody on how things are going. I'm fine. I'm fine. Because I'm not really fine. I'm hiding everything. Yeah. And so then back to my mom, she was asking me, and it didn't matter. She would see the freaking empty beer cans in the dumpster and just in that, and I didn't act like anything was wrong. But everybody else, she saw it. And now that, yeah, it's now that I'm back and closer to home, I can go and visit her. So yeah, there's a little better conversations now than the ones over the phone or just trying to ignore everybody.
Mm-hmm. Good. That's a good update too. That was one of the things that Patrick wanted you to continue working on.
Yeah.
When I talked to him last, family and relationship stuff. That'll continue to grow and evolve.
Because then, say like my brother and his wife, I sat there after I went to church with my mom. I went over to my brother's house and we sat there for, I don't know, probably 3 hours or so, or it might have been more, just talking about what the girls or my nieces are up to, how things are going, and just the little things. Getting caught up and reacclimated, reintroducing myself to people, which I think will still be an ongoing process. This is a big part of it. So I know there's a lot of people back in Amherst I haven't got to stop in and say hi to yet. It just seems like everything's busy, and graduations are coming up, so hopefully I get to see a lot of people at those. But just between, obviously, what I got going on and holidays, and Angie's got stuff, and it just doesn't seem like there's always a lot of free time. But like I said, Sundays I try to set that up as a relaxing day.
Oh.
Yeah, if this turns into our Sunday project,
let's do it, dude.
I'm definitely for it.
Sundays with Kyle. Sundays with Kyle's garage.
But we might have to record on a Monday and claim it's a Sunday.
That's fine.
Or however it pans out. Then, like I say, choose something that gives somebody something that they care about, or if they want to rant about. Because I know there's one thing I'd like to rant about, but we're not going to turn this into a political show.
Hey, man. It's going to be the political climate is an important topic in the coming months.
I don't want to say that I'm disappointed in America, but I kind of am that it's come down to two almost 80-year-old men for the third time. If we want to be so progressive and changing and do all this other stuff, why are we keep going back to the same two guys? But I will let my rant be people who have to deal with unruly customers at any job that's customer service, whether it be McDonald's or Walgreens or Walmart or some landscaping store or whatever, or an insurance store. Somebody, just whoever's got to deal with customer service, because that was quite the eye-opening experience. When I got to do that in the pharmacy, it was like, holy cow, I'm like, are people really this nasty?
Mm.
Maybe that might be a harsh word, but still, or unruly or whatever. But I'm sitting there like, the more I got to do it and see that, I'm like, holy crap, I was that guy.
Mm. When waiting in lines, or just how you behaved with
the person that's trying to help you, or like the simple thing of like, the pharmacy doesn't set the prices for the prescriptions, the insurance company does. So if the insurance company, if you think it's too much, we're the ones getting blasted at it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all our fault. It's not.
People vented then. I mean, people use frontline employees to voice frustration and vent, or they just behave badly, or somewhere in between. Right? Like, I think people are hurting.
Yeah.
Or unhappy, or like trying to figure out the reason why people behave like that, I guess.
Yeah, and like, I understand insurances are frustrating, and
it's a frustrating process.
And like, for some reason your insurance isn't covering this now, or where you had it for the past 5 years, or no, they want you to try this because it's cheaper, or just any random dumb thing. Or because, like, I just remember the day we only have one pharmacist there, so we're only open 5 days a week, and people would be complaining that we're not open on the weekends. Well, that lady needs 2 days off herself.
Yeah.
Or she got sick. So no pharmacist, you can't open up a pharmacy. So that next day, holy cow, I worked the drive-through. I thought I was taking bullets all day long, because everybody's like, well, we didn't know what was going on. Why were you guys closed? What's going on? And it was just like, holy crap. It was just like the world had ended, that they couldn't get the medication that one day.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've learned, which actually kind of surprised me, was you think our generation, that was probably the last that didn't get the instant gratification growing up. And everybody older than us never had instant gratification. Like, wow, I can get this like that now. Versus like the kids that are growing up now, they pretty much can get anything at their fingertips. We can just order it. Oh, it'll be here tomorrow. Or we can put that and do this.
I have a couple of those at home.
Yeah.
A couple of those kids.
Yeah. And dealing with the kids through the drive-through, and you tell them, oh, hey, that we're out of stock on this. It'll be in tomorrow. They're like, oh, okay. It's our age and up that all of a sudden, what do you mean I can't get that? Why can't I get that? And they're the ones turning into a big, that's part of the venting and ranting at taking bolts. I'm like, sorry, our distributor did not get it to us on time, or they're out of stock.
Yeah. I had a woman call me terrible today. I was reffing.
But I think that comes with the territory on that.
You're asking for it? I mean,
if you got stripes on, you're asking for it.
I suppose. Yeah, you have to have thick skin. You still hear them though, right? Like, Yeah, and they were upset because their team lost. Yeah. So that you're the objective third party that can shoulder some blame. I didn't take it personally. I'm still processing it. But
yeah. And that was the thing that I think that also helped me too with my counseling is that I was that person, and now I learned to see their point of view, and like, okay, yeah, I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not attacking me as a kid.
No,
I mean, or they're trying to, and
they're not trying to personally attack. They're just all their frustrations are coming at me.
Right.
And yeah, it kind of sucks, but it's some of those days, you'd say it kind of wears on you.
Yeah.
But
oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it's like the people that you spend time with, though, and work is a big part of that. But do the people give you energy that you choose to spend time with, or do they give you energy or take energy? Right? Like, what's the energy transfer when you're interacting with other humans? There's a lot of negativity.
Yeah, because I would say the energy, like back at my current job, I just get energy from it because I'm excited. I like it. I just love doing it. And then I would say the energy that I got from the pharmacy job was the 5 women that I worked with.
Yeah, it's the people.
Just 5 completely different women with different backgrounds, different everything. And that might have been the best team I've ever worked with, and it was just such a joy to work with them.
Yeah.
They might think I'm crazy for saying that. And if they ever watch this, they're probably going to freaking laugh at me. Because they all have their moments. They all have their days, just like we all do. And it's best thing is they can all laugh at themselves after they have their moment.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's a safe place to do that, right? Like they pick each other up, or that environment that you're describing.
Yeah, and like I said, they helped me. I always felt I was the weakest link, and I was the weakest link. But they could tell when I was confused on an insurance thing with the computer or whatever. They were right there, like, Kyle, you need help with this? And they're like, oh yes. Yeah. But yeah, that was a very great experience, and I was very lucky to meet all of them. I'm looking forward to seeing them again.
Yeah. So your rant?
That's my rant. It wasn't much of one, but customer service, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah, and then you as a customer, you said you behave differently now after that experience. Try to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, it's not that at all. Like you said, we're all getting into that instant gratification where why is this taking so long? Why is this taking so long?
Who are you gonna have on the pod? You got any names?
I've had a few people reach out to me. I'll let them stay there. I know I'm going to corner Patrick to come on the show. I'm sure he'll love to come on. There's a few people that have a few ideas too, but I don't want to corner them.
Yep.
Over this, it'd be more if I see them in person, or I'll send them a message asking if they want to share some of their struggles.
Yep.
And I think there might be a few people that we might need to corner or coerce into doing it. But hopefully they do that, or be willing to do it at that point.
Are you naming names?
We might be making a road trip across the country to see Anthony, but
you'll see Anthony.
Yeah.
All right.
But we'll have to get him to open up or be willing to.
Yeah, I don't know. Or just hang out.
Yeah.
See how it goes, right? Like, I think that's it. Like, don't put pressure on people that aren't ready. But just like, hey, what do you want to talk about? Those open-ended questions that you came up with, that list that we listed, lets the person share at the depth that they want to share.
And then,
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think, yeah.
And then, plus, I think that also might make it easier if you do it in the comfort of their own home, or if we're doing an activity that they might want to do, whether it be go to a driving range or whatever hobby they might want to do, or that they care about. They could try and embarrass us. doing their hobby.
Yeah. I think it's important, just to set the expectation that we just want to have a conversation with them. We just want to hold space for them, and like if it's not deeply personal challenges that they're going through that they want to sit in front of a camera and talk about, then that's fine. Then we'll just go and hang out, and they can decide what they want to talk about. Because I think, because I don't want it to feel like there's pressure there, or that they don't want to be on, or the stuff that they're willing to share isn't valuable enough. Because I think that was another just a takeaway is everybody's at a different place in their life and what they want to share and their story. Yours was a big one because of where you were at and what you were doing. Maybe everybody isn't there yet, but maybe we can get them a step closer to sharing their hopes and their dreams and their challenges and their story.
Yeah, and one of the things I learned early on through the counseling, it was my story, it was my journey. And you need to be proud of your story and your life and your journey. It doesn't matter how many ups and downs you had. Be proud of it.
And you being vulnerable, you modeling that vulnerability, similar to what you described that Patrick did for you, might give people that comfort level, or help them share stuff that maybe they want to share deep down. They want to share, but haven't yet, or haven't had a platform for it, or haven't been in a space where they've been given opportunity to do it.
Yeah, because we can go back to saying that we're not counselors. I'm a very non-judgmental person, and I think that's a big thing. And especially now, learning how to be to show sympathy and empathy, and so I'm sure when people are telling their stories and struggles, we might have a minute or moment ourselves because we'll be processing it ourselves as we're going.
Yeah.
Or it might draw something up that we may have actually gone through in our life.
Yeah, empathy is a big deal. I try to practice empathy, empathetic listening. That's a big piece of some of the consulting that I do work. Is that first piece is being able to understand another person, a totally different perspective than yours, and care. Lifting it up, holding it, having them talk about it, having them describe it. Even if you don't know what that feels like, you can understand their perspective and their point of view. Take a walk in their shoes. Yeah. I don't know at what depth I want to share my shit.
I know.
So there.
I know you got some deep stuff that I know that you and me have never even talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
So like it'll be interesting to see where that goes and what I'm comfortable with. And I don't like talking about myself all that much, dude.
Neither do I. But as I've gone through counseling, like now I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my story. Like now I actually do want to talk about myself.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, that's growth too, right? Yeah. Like that you're in a place where you can say, and you're doing it because you can help other people. And you're doing it because it feels good and you can help other people. Is that fair?
Yeah. And it's one of the guys I worked with said to me, he's like, you just seem like you're walking on cloud nine. Like you have so much confidence now in whatever you do or whatever decision you make. I'm still nervous as hell, and I'm a little nervous what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be successful, but that goes back to my biggest fear.
What is successful?
This. Well, we end up making millions of dollars off this now.
Billions. Fucking billions.
No, it's just helping people reconnect, share their help, maybe be able to help some other people.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, right? Like we'll do that.
Yeah.
That's it. Reminder of what successful looks like for this too, because I think it's, or even just give platform and opportunity for people to share their stuff.
And if this becomes popular somehow, great. That will give us a bigger platform to make more change.
Yeah, I do. I think about men's mental health, and am involved in an organization where we're building social connection with men. It's called Dudes and Tacos. And I think there's a platform there too, right? Like that thing that certainly we can have men and women on this pod. It's not men only, but you and I as the whatever we are. What are we? Hosts, co-hosts,
Active listeners,
facilitators, listeners. Yeah. I think it's that. I think it's like men having conversation on deep topics, men being vulnerable. There's that piece to it too, and you talking about the benefits of therapy and counseling, what that's meant for you, right? Breaking the stigma down there. So that's what I'm excited about too, is kind of that lens of it. Like, let's talk about it. Let's lean in and have vulnerable conversations. It's healthy sharing things, and even things like feelings and emotions, and challenges and those things. It affects all humans. I think specifically you and I have the unique perspective of a middle-aged male.
no,
Maybe who haven't done that or have suppressed or repressed feelings and emotions for a long time.
that's something. But then just we are open to having all genders, because obviously women have their struggles. We'll probably be horrible at giving advice on those episodes.
I don't give advice. Yeah, I don't give advice. It's just like, we'll see.
But that might be entertaining at the same time. They probably can make us probably a little uncomfortable with some things.
Uncomfortable is where growth happens.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable is where you learn something different. If we just talk to people that we know and that we understand completely, then I don't think you learn anything. Yeah. Is that it?
I think
Did we do it?
I think
This is
that's
episode
it.
1.
This is episode 1 of whatever we're going to call it. We'll probably have a title, but we won't include it into the in our introductions here. But we will definitely look forward to everybody watching it and the comments that we hear back. And hopefully there's some people that reach out to us that would like to be guests on our little show.
Where are they going to sit? Wherever. We'll get another chair.
Wherever they feel comfortable. If they want to be in the middle, if they want to be on the side, but they will be on camera. So it is what it is. I would like to thank anybody who watches this, and they can reach out to us.
Thanks for asking me to be on.
What do you mean? You're the one who introduced me to this idea.
Right, but this is your project, so
it's our project.
that's cool. Thanks for wanting to do this.
Yeah, like when you told me when I was in jail about doing this, I thought you were nuts.
Yeah.
Here we are today. So I got to thank you for that.